This is my custom built bass, custom built by me, for me, but I have a feeling that other guitar players could get a kick out of this too because, well, A, I wanted to build a bass because I heard this song. Like a north wind whistling down the sky. I didn't have a bass. And I'll be honest, I didn't really want to buy one just to learn to play one or two songs because there was also this song. There's nothing where you used to lie. The conversation has run dry. That's what's going on. Nothing's fine, I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. Which anytime I hear it come on the radio, it's just got such a cool like vibe or groove that you can't help but like pretend that you want to play bass. There's nothing really interesting going on with the guitar. The bass is what's driving the vibe in those songs. So it's like, oh, I want to play that, but I don't have a bass. But I don't really want to buy one. So I built one that is 24 3/4 inch scale. Gibson scale. This is a guitar length scale, which I haven't really seen. I know they make short scale basses, but like everything I've seen is like maybe 30 inches or around there. Nothing that's under 24 or under 25. And so I just thought that that would fit me really well. I'm obviously used to the scale length. I'm probably a Gibson fanboy, so I'm already digging the Gibson vibe. I have all the tools, all the jigs, all the hardware I need. The only thing special that I really had to buy was a bigger bass bridge and a bass pickup. But I mean, everything else, this is just pick guard material that I kind of drew out and made custom for this. I had knobs. So this was my summer build. I used the summer of 2025 to kind of work on this. You don't seem to know, seem to care what your heart is for. Well, I don't know him anymore. There's nothing where he used to lie. The conversation has run dry. That's what's going on. Nothing's fine, I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor. Details about this guitar. This is a cherry body and a mahogany neck with a rosewood fingerboard. Frets were medium or medium jumbo from StewMac. I just bought guitar frets and they seem to be working just fine. It is unknown to me if bass frets are a special thing. I don't know if they're extra tall, wide. These seem to be working fine. The pickup is about on Reverb. It was the pickup, pots, and jack combo for like 35 bucks. Came out of an Epiphone SG bass, so I thought perfect. I have no issues with the pickup. I think it sounds fine. The bridge, I forget the brand, but I did want kind of that Nashville ABR style bridge. I think it's the adjustability of it, or like the lack of adjustability. You've got 2 ways to adjust the height, and obviously your saddles for intonation. Sometimes I get lost. I can do it. It's not like something I can't do, but sometimes I just get lost in like really trying to fine tune a Fender style bridge where each string has its own, obviously, intonation, but then height, and then getting the curve. This is just kind of like plunk it down, set it up, dial it in, and you're gonna be pretty good to go. So again, mahogany neck. I carved this myself. I did what I call like the half method, where you mark out lines and then remove the material, and then of the material you just moved, you make another line halfway through that, remove that material. So you end up getting probably a fatter neck than you typically would, which I actually kind of like. When I went from playing an SG, which to me had a shallower, wider neck, to a smaller Gibson, I guess I didn't realize that the neck shapes were different, but I didn't care for it as much. I've gotten used to it, but I really like a wide neck, and I think the thicker neck probably helps with the tension of the bigger strings anyway. So, but that's the cool thing about like building your own guitar is you get to build it exactly. It's like the custom shop for you as long as you know how to do it. Some of the things that I really dig about this thing though, and I think it's probably, obviously I dig it, I built it, there's a reason I did that, but the standard scale length, I've obviously played the basses here and there, and it just feels uncomfortable to me, the extra length. I'm not used to that. I can read a tab and for the most part know where I am. I'm not saying I can just sight read perfect, but it certainly helps when I'm trying to play a new song. This feels more, where my hand is more ingrained in my brain. That muscle memory is there. I have not a belly curve, but like an arm curve here. And I originally had to do this because when I was cutting this body, I had a huge chunk of tear out. And then the idea popped into my brain of like, well, Stratocasters put a, like I said, I don't know what you'd call that, an arm curve, a comfort curve. And I actually really dig that. I play with a pick. And so my arm usually sits right in there, making that a little bit more comfortable versus a harder 90-degree corner, even though there's a very slight sanded bevel. Just having that smooth transition from one side to the other makes a really big difference.
Moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway, moving ahead so life won't pass me by. Like a north wind whistling down the sky, I've got a song, I've got a song.
I brought the camera in a little bit closer for the things, I'm not going to call them cons, I'm going to call them things that I learned that I can do better next time. The first being when it comes to a set neck, you really got to make sure there's a lot of wood there because you have to glue it in the body. The glue joint is going to hold it there. And I didn't make mine. Mine was right in line with probably this last fret here. And I realized pretty soon that that wasn't going to work. So then I kind of made a cutout and added a longer tenon, thinking that that would be fine. And it might have been. But then as I got further into the build, I realized that, or maybe not such a realization, but a worry that even that tenon might not be long enough. And that only is, maybe it comes down to about here. My things that I've learned that I would do better next time is to create a longer tenon, have it come down much further, and then when it comes to riding out the pick guard, you know, if you got to route into that a little bit, I don't think that's such a major issue, but having a short tenon, there's not a whole lot there for that glue to hold. What I did end up doing is screwing in a threaded insert into the body, and you can kind of see it there. I may try to find a little bit, either a black screw to hide or a gold screw to match, but I've got just a very simple screw that then goes through the tenon to add a bit of rigidity to that joint. I don't have any, I put the strings on and I don't have any cracks. I maybe would have gone deeper as well. I feel like I have a good amount of real estate here that I could have worked with. Doesn't affect playability at all, but again, for a stronger joint, next time I would maybe create a deeper heel with a longer tenon. Other thing that kind of goes hand in hand with the neck joint is the neck angle. And I did make all my measurements, and I was shooting for about 3 degrees, and whether, you know, in the final sanding something got off, or if that just wasn't quite enough, whatever, it ended up being maybe, like I'm gonna eye it, maybe like 1 degree or 2 degrees. It's just enough where with the bridge bottomed out, it was playable. I played it that way. It wasn't really a problem, but I knew that it wasn't as good as it could be. So what I ended up doing, and this is why I wanted to come in a little bit closer, is now you can see that the bridge area is actually routed out, and this is sitting down in the bridge instead of flush with the top, or even slightly higher depending on where you need it. Again, I hated to do that, but I was willing to make that sacrifice for the correct action and the better playability. But things that I learned that I will do better next time is to have like double check, triple check your neck angles before gluing up, so that everything, during the install later will work. That really sucked to have to router into the body after I had finished it, because I think it really did turn out pretty good. This isn't anything that I feel like I would do differently, because I specifically intended for this to be a 24 3/4 inch scale. But one thing that I didn't anticipate is when it comes to putting the strings on, guitar strings and bass strings are, yes, similar in concept, but like different in construction completely. So a guitar string, for you bass players, if you're watching this that don't know, is the wound string, specifically solid core wound, and it's generally the same length all the way through. You measure where you want it, snip it, wrap around your tuner, you're good to go. What I didn't realize is on the thicker bass strings that it tapers up, and that the thin end, or the thinner end, is meant to do the winding, and then you catch this gap as it tapers up, and then hopefully from your nut back is the size or the gauge that you want. Because A, I didn't know that, and B, I don't know if I can really get one anyway. I would have either had a mile worth of low E string winding around this peg, so I snipped it, and what happened was it actually started to uncoil. You can kind of see right there that the string has actually popped and started to uncoil. This is actually the second string that I tried. It did it both times, and I think it's because the thickness of the string itself is so thick that it can't handle that tight of a turn. Hence why people who are actually smarter than me and designed these things have a smaller tapered end for the bigger strings. One possible fix would be, I know if I order a custom set on Stringjoy, they can go up to a 95 for a baritone guitar. So again, the length is longer, but if they're doing the same thing as, I'm looking for, what I really need is, maybe I'll have to look again, because maybe they make a thick set, or a thick gauge for a regular electric, but what I really need is a string that's of this gauge but this length, because if I just keep getting, heaven forbid, the typical longer scale or even a short scale, they're just too long. So that is an obstacle that I'm working through. Again, not something that I would do better, because I wanted this scale length. So that's just a repercussion of building such a short guitar. Even though it popped, for home use, it's holding. I got enough other winds around it where I think it's kind of cinched down upon itself, but occasionally when I'm playing, I do feel the low E will all of a sudden like boom, drop down, and I'm sure it's got an expiration date. So between then and that eventually happening, I'll have to come up with a solution. All in all, my goal has been accomplished. I heard a song, I wanted a bass, built one for me, but I'm curious what other guitar players think. Would you be more apt to playing a 24 3/4 inch guitar, or like a standard electric guitar length bass? Or are you thinking there's a reason basses are longer, don't waste your time? Now that I have done it once, I feel like I could do it again, but I'm just curious to see what others think. I'm always open to feedback, so let me know down in the comments what you think of a short scale bass. But now that the goal of building it is accomplished, I think the song that originally drove me to wanting one, if I could master that, the bass part of I've Got a Name by Jim Croce, I think that would be such a huge endorphin. Like, it's such a huge drop. My brain would just go nuts. So we'll keep you posted. I'm going to keep playing bass. I'm going to keep playing those songs from the 90s that I love, the songs from the 80s that have great bass lines. as I get more proficient, that's going to be the one that I would want to do. Well, that's it. That's my guitar player's bass. I'm happy with it. I hope you guys don't think it's too dumb, but if you do, honestly, I don't care because I really enjoy it and I built it. Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.
Moving ahead so life won't pass me by.